quick intro, my name is Riley Price. I'm the manager for digital product creation at Under Armour. And a little over 9 years ago, I started at the core of Under Armour in their team sports division. Like Paige mentioned, my background is in tech design, and I started working in team sports at the very heart of UA, doing everything from collegiate football and basketball tech design to hockey and lacrosse. After spending a few years at the Baltimore headquarters, I had a great opportunity to move up to the New York office and really dive deep into the world of our female consumer. I was able to work on bespoke product for professional ballerinas like Misty Copeland and help develop and engineer Under Armour's first inclusive product, which is our plus line, and our petite line as well. That was an incredible opportunity for me to really stand behind Under Armour's mission of empowering all athletes, and was such a great opportunity to really dive into the development of that. After a few years in New York, in 2019, I had a really incredible opportunity, again, to travel to Under Armour's Hong Kong office and live and work out of Hong Kong for a year. I was thrown into the world of global supply chain and product development and really working with our vendor base in our Hong Kong office. It turns out 2019 was a really great time to be thrown into the world of global supply chain, because in the events leading up to early 2020, those elicited my return to New York. And like many of us here, I went through the trial by fire that was working remotely for the first time in my life. And I'm still working remotely, but I am now in a role of managing our digital product creation globally for all of Under Armour's apparel. And what I want to share with you guys tonight, and the reason why I share some of my backstory, is because I hope I am laying the groundwork or the foundation that I come from an ethos of collaboration. And what you're seeing on the screen here is digital product creation. That's still my team's name. But the idea of creating digital product is one thing, and then the idea of collaborating around digital product is a whole nother world. And that is really where we are trying to get tonight. So not only tonight, but we're trying to get tonight at Under Armour as well. So you'll see me tonight talk a little bit about what collaboration has looked like for Under Armour. I totally recognize that collaboration means different things for different people, for different teams, and even for different companies as well. But this has been our way of kind of supporting this idea of not just creating really beautiful product, but starting to bring in all of the teammates, all of the hands that go into creating apparel. Not just our designers, not just our developers, our vendor partners, but collaborating on something together that really empowers digital product creation in a way that moves us into a really fluid and agile space. So, before I get into that, let me find my clicker here. I want to start us off with a quick little exercise. If you've ever seen an Under Armour presentation, this probably looks familiar, but real or fake, all of the images that you see on the screen, except for one, are all garments that have been created and rendered out of browseware. So take a minute. There's one garment that's actually a physical photograph. So take a minute, look through it, see if you can find the one that's actually the photograph. We've got a big enough group here tonight. I won't call on anybody and ask for guesses. But we ready? All right. If you guessed the brown button-up, congratulations. You got it right. Well done. All right. I've got one more for us. This is another exercise, and this is actually the first time I've done this exercise, so I'm really curious to see how it goes. But this exercise is all renders on our virtual humans, essentially, on our hyper-real avatars using hyper-real settings. So one of these images is an actual photo shoot in our photo studio, and the rest are created and rendered out of browseware. All right. Everybody have their guesses? Okay. Mixed result? All right. Pretty good. Awesome. All right. So why do I even show you that? It's a fun exercise, but The whole reason I show you that is to really tell you about this first pillar in our collaboration journey. And to me, this is absolutely foundational. It's this idea of building trust. You might have heard the saying that trust is gained in drops and lost in buckets. That is so, so true for the digital world. The minute you have an uncanny or not quite right virtual sample and a designer sees it or someone from leadership sees it, the trust for that digital product creation plummets, and it's so hard to get back. So one of the things that we've done at Under Armour that's been transformational in our journey, and like I said, absolutely foundational, is for every single virtual product we have a comparison test with it. So we take a picture of that physical product whenever we get it. It could be a PP, it could be a TOP straight off the line, but we compare our virtual iteration of that to the physical iteration on our fit form and on our fit model as well. This has been a critical part of really building up that quality assurance and making sure that every teammate, from design to tech design to leadership to merchants to even our vendors, really trusts what they're creating in 3D. This is one of the reasons, too, that I love working with our partners at Browseware. I know they also come from this ethos of really supporting the idea of trust. And they definitely have our backs with this, and I think it's something that we've really developed and calibrated along the way. The second pillar for us, and really another foundational part of our collaborative process, is supporting the foundation, empowering the people that really want to work in 3D. What you're seeing here on the screen is not only the tools that we use at Under Armour, but the tools that Browseware has provided to us. Browseware University has been such an incredible tool for us to use as an organization. As a manager, when I have someone that comes into the team, whether they have zero 3D experience or someone who's worked on it before, I can point them to Browseware University, cover our bases, and know we're all speaking that same digital language. That's huge and important, and it's such a critical thing that just level sets for everyone. We're all speaking that same language. Another key piece of our pillar and our foundation of when we bring people in to our 3D journey is the idea of helpful tools and tools that are at your fingertips and make sense and can meet you where you're at. The Browseware Help Center is the perfect example of it. I love it. I call it my Google, because anytime I have a question, type in the question or type in the topic, and I can find step-by-step guides, I can find videos, tutorials, anything I need. And it's a great tool because it helps my teammates, regardless of their learning style, they can see what they need for their product and for their category and really make a bespoke tutorial for themselves that meets them where they're at. Another key thing that's been huge in our foundational support is our toolbox. We have a UA preset toolbox, and this has been a huge lift, but it's been an incredibly valuable tool because no matter where you are on your digital journey, no matter where you sit on the globe, we're all pulling from that same toolbox. We're all painting with the same brush strokes, more or less. So we've got the color palettes loaded in, avatars, outfits. We know we can pick up where someone left off and use the tools that we're all trying to share across the enterprise. This next slide here really takes us more into that collaborative journey I'm talking about. We've really laid the foundation with trust and the tools that help our designers and tech designers and vendors all work and speak the same language. But what you're seeing up here on the screen is a real-life example of one of our product categories that has allowed us to empower a specific team's vision. So for our golf team, they don't create jazzy silhouettes that are full of volume or new cut lines or anything like that. They really play in iteration on print and graphic. So for them, working in 3D meant something very different than maybe our lifestyle team. So for our golf team, what was really, really powerful for them was building incredibly solid blocks that could be iterated on season over season. They could plug and play with their prints, they could plug and play with their graphics, and have a place where they could collaborate with their PLM team. We call our PLM team as our merchants. So they could collaborate with their merchants and talk through, okay, do we need a different color button? What does this account want to see from us? And really highlight that in a strong, agile block that we can take just our hollows of and put them on a screen side by side, but then also put them on an avatar that's dressed and a little bit more engaging, and really allows our merchant team to collaborate with our customer base and show them something. Is this what you want? Is this the vision we're after? Is this what we're going for? Another example of this collaboration, and this is maybe my favorite slide because it's an actual fitting. I know all of us, I'm sure a lot of us have sat in a fitting and just been like, oh, if I could just pin that up, or if I could just move that over a little bit, we would have. And we can do that now in real time. One of the biggest benefits, I think, of working with Browseware is we've been able to really tailor make our presets using partners like Substance to look at our graphics, to start on a block and be able to change the color, pop in a foil graphic, and see that in real time. So what you're seeing on the screen is an example of one of our graphic designers driving a fit, essentially. They're working with their merchant, and they're working with their tech designer. Their tech designer picked the block, helped dress the avatar. The graphic designer then went in and applied the graphic. Our print designer went in and applied the print. And now they're all in the same room working together. Our merchant is in the room saying, okay, we had gold last year for our Lunar New Year celebration. What do we think about doing that again this season? So the team's trying it. They're putting in a new graphic, they're placing it, they're looking at that print, and they're having a conversation in real time, which real-time collaboration is something we've all been looking for. It's an incredible opportunity to be able to take your design and your vendor experience and bring them together. What happened after this fit, once they finally decided on the colors, the prints, all the things that are very, very important, but take a while to decide, we were able to send this directly to our vendor, and we didn't have to see a proto. It was a block we know and love. It was graphics we've seen before, using presets that we know, using strike-offs that we've seen, and we were able to send this 3D file and go straight to the line. And that was such a powerful example of how we could collaborate, not only from design and using all of our different design techniques from prints and graphics, and move it all the way through to our supply chain and send this directly to a vendor. There we go. This next pillar in our collaboration journey is this idea of fighting on together. And this one can be a little bit hard. This one can be a little bit abrasive. It's asking hard questions. What you're seeing on the screen here are questions that we had to bring to our design team a couple of years ago. And we brought them these 2D sketches and said, is this the best we can do? For some of them, yeah, it was. That's where they felt like they could work. For others, though, we showed them the possibilities of working in 3D and what that meant for color, what that meant for design. And they got so excited. And they were excited about the opportunity to be able to take something like that hoodie in the corner, maybe start there, but then be able to hand off a tech pack that looks like what you're seeing on the right. So a designer actually put that together, was able to sit with their tech designer, add some fullness, add ease, make the hood a little bit droopier, and then hand this off in a tech pack that went straight to our vendor. And it was an incredibly powerful experience for that team because the first proto that they got back looked exactly like this. And it was an opportunity then to reiterate on that trust that we were building all along the way and also collaborate with our vendors. They came back after they saw this 3D file and they said, hey, your crossover looks not quite like your standard. Can we scooch this over just a little bit? They sent the visual right back and it looked perfect. So this is just one of those ways where we're able to work in a really agile way. We're not just creating digital samples for the sake of creating them. We're really empowering this idea of fluid collaboration that starts to really move the needle into this idea of sustainability and this idea of speed to market. All right, so I've got a quick video. I'm going to play it for you and then we'll talk about it. So let's see if this works here. a jock, but that video always gets me really pumped up. Uh, so that is an example of one of our homegrown start to finish products that we did in a super tight time frame. It's the brainchild of our team sports team, and through the partnerships and collaboration we have not only with Browseware but with other partners like Trapdoor, with Substance, where we're able to take all of these elements that build our physical product and build incredible photo shoots and marketing materials, bring them together to allow our designers to really sing honestly, to create a chassis that was the perfect fit for our football player, to be able to take our color team, have them start plugging in different color for these different teams and really iterating on that. Having our graphic team go in and badge it up, having tech go in and make sure that fit is just right, and then pass that off to our vendors and say, this is what we expect, go. So that's a really great example of something that we've seen, not only where we're collaborating internally across the enterprise, but we're using other vendor partners like Trapdoor I mentioned and Substance, and really leveraging the tools that the industry is coming together to create for a really incredible experience. So in conclusion, I know collaboration looks a little bit different for everyone, but I hope tonight I shared some pillars that have been critical for us to really start to move our product and move the idea of creating things digitally into this really fluid space where we can start to imagine and push that status quo into the future. Thank you all.